Hello again, friends, and welcome to another fine edition of The Haunting of KGGO.com. My name is B-sox. I'll be your host as we dive into the world of the paranormal during the best month of the entire year, October, ghost goblins, and everything in between. If you don't know what The Haunting of KGGO.com is, it is where we talk to local paranormal groups about hauntings here in the state of Iowa. Now, you can find out more about it at kggo.com/haunting. And ladies and gentlemen, joining me tonight, I believe everyone on this call is law enforcement, correct?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kari and Addison from Paranormal 1096 is on the line. Hey, guys, welcome to the show tonight.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. We've been waiting for this. It's exciting.
I'm sorry, I was going as fast as I could once I got home, and I
Not that way.
Okay. So welcome to the show tonight, guys. You were actually recommended to be on the show from Michelle with Riverside, Iowa. It's RIP, Riverside, Iowa Paranormal. And when I asked them about Captain Kirk, Michelle did not take too kindly to that for some reason. But no, you guys come highly recommended from Michelle, and welcome. And we're going to talk about ghosts and stuff tonight. Okay, so real quick, just to point this out to everybody, as everybody was supposed to be together on this call, but due to weather moving through the area on the night that we were going to be recording, Kari called me and said, "Oh my God, I can't make it. I'm so scared of weather, and I can't do it." And
I'm scared of the hail.
I know. But what was funny about it was you were saying, all my answers are going to be the same place. So, let's dive into your story first, because we usually go through like how the group formed and stuff. But you know what? We've whetted everybody's appetite. Let's talk about your scary encounter there, Kari.
Well, we went to Villisca. It actually turned out to be the anniversary of, I guess apparently a gentleman there. It was November 7th of last year. And there was that's the anniversary date that a gentleman basically like recreated the scene of what they think happened.
Okay.
And he said that he laid down on a bed and he took his buck knife and had stabbed himself in the chest. And so that information in hand, we were wondering, like, okay, is this an active night for a certain reason, or it just was purely coincidental for us? The gentleman was on Kindred Spirits and he talked about it, and it sounds like he had to be airlifted. It wasn't just like a superficial flesh wound. It sounded like this was a true, like he had impaled himself.
He actually he cut himself with a knife.
He stabbed it and it was sticking out, is my understanding.
It was sticking out of himself.
Yes.
Okay, that just sounds crazy.
And Johnny Hauser like confirmed it, that like, yeah, that's what happened. And we thought we were doing the proper thing. We went to the grave site to ask for permission and met Johnny there. And so we're going through the night, and there's multiple things that happen in that house. And so just to get to the meat of it, for me personally, I think everybody had a different experience, but that house picked us apart. I never said what my biggest fear is, because I want to debunk everything. Like, there has to be a reason for everything.
Okay.
And everything's not an orb. Everything's not like every noise isn't a ghost. Every knock isn't, So we were in the like parlor area, I guess you would call it. And I sat down at the piano and kind of goofed around on the piano a little bit.
Chopsticks.
And attempting, or like the part from Ghostbusters where Bill Murray's like playing it and he's like, yep,
they hate this. They hate this.
Yep. And apparently they do. So we get up from that and we walk. And I hate to make a joke about.
There were six of us. There were six of us there.
Yes. And so we were all in the room, and I mean, this is one of those places where you something happened there. There's no question that something happened there. So you want to be respectful, and they have the pictures of the kids, and it's very emotional. It's very
So what was the scary thing that happened? Let's get right to it, man. What
I just hate talking about it. And like, so
Addison's looking
everybody-
at you like you're a big chicken.
She was the one I jumped. So Addison is a tall drink of water, and I jumped over Addison. But so I'm the last one out of the room. We have all
Yeah.
the lights off. I don't even know if there's even electricity going in the place, but I had a huge like camping lantern,
Yeah.
and in order to turn it off, you have to start it high, which it was on, and then it cycles through
Mm-hmm.
to off. It just went directly from high to off. And I just put brand new batteries in it, and
Okay.
we used it for maybe like 5 minutes in the parlor. So I get done playing my little Bill Murray Ghostbusters. They hate this thing. We walk in front of the room that Karen, help me with the kids' names. Ina and Lena. So the kids' room on the main floor where the 2 little girls were murdered.
The 2 neighbor
And those-
girls.
Yeah, as soon as I put my foot in the doorway of that, as we're walking out, because it's not a huge house, but as soon as I put my foot in that doorway, my lantern goes out. So now we're in complete darkness. And we all wear like tennis shoes so that we don't want to contaminate an area with like clunky shoes. And all of a sudden I hear men's like hard sole shoes, heavy footsteps come running out of that room.
Oh boy.
And now we're
Look
in
at
the
Karen.
complete dark. Yeah.
It
We're
was so
complete-
funny.
Oh, it was so weird. No, it's not funny. So I think I probably screamed. I don't know. Like I probably
Probably screamed.
I'm pretty
And then-
sure her feet didn't hit the ground from there to
Yeah.
me.
so
Everybody was
I
out of the
jumped.
room except for me and Carrie, and her light goes off. And all of a sudden I hear the stomps too. And at first I'm like, Carrie, what the hell are you doing? Are you jumping? And then she's like crawling over me to get into the
Yeah.
kitchen.
I hurled.
She goes, we're out of here. And I'm like, oh no, we're not.
So yeah, I yeeted myself over Addison, and like I'm out the door, and we're gonna go out to the bar just to collect, because to me I never told anybody. We went to dinner beforehand. I never said my biggest fear is having the lights go off and be in complete darkness, and then hearing something like having a door slam, which this place is known for, or hearing footsteps, which it's also known for. That's the one thing I can't debunk, is a brand new lantern that's never done that since,
Yeah.
and hearing footsteps come out. So people can say all they want, like ghosts aren't real, there's no such thing, but and 9 times out of 10 they may be right, but that was my one that was it for me.
You know what's
I
funny
agree
is
with-
what's that, Addison?
I agree with Carrie. The house, nobody said their fears. Nobody. My mom tagged along. We never mentioned, like I never called her mom. But that house, we would do the spirit box, and all of a sudden it would like call us by name, except my mom. It was mom. And then all of a sudden it started talking about my brother, Devin. Devin's going to get sick. Devin.
And he
Ooh.
wasn't there.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
And by the way, her mom is also in law enforcement.
Boy,
And
you're
Devin.
you're just everybody,
And
huh?
her brother.
Yeah, and Devin and her dad. Like, so everybody there but one person was in law enforcement.
That's got to be an interesting thing when you take into account it's a murder scene, and if the maybe person's there or maybe something else is there, that could be interesting. This is the haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. On the line is Paranormal 1096, Karen, Kari, and Addison joining me. We kind of dove right into it. Let's go back. Tell me a little bit about Paranormal 1096. How did you guys form? Where did you come from? How did you guys all get together and start going to spooky places?
So before Addison started, where we work, Carrie and I and another coworker, Kelsey, we found out that we were all kind of a little interested in it. We all ended up having, maybe not Kelsey, but Kari and I had something in our past weird that had happened that made us interested,
Okay.
that made us interested. So we went to the Lion and the Lamb. Have you ever heard of that in Benton?
For some reason, I feel like I have. I can't place why though.
So I think it used to be a bed and breakfast, but I don't think that's in any condition to do that now. But we went there hoping for an experience. Yeah, so we got tickets to go. There was like 40 people there. Nothing happened. Not a thing happened. So and then we booked a place with Edinburgh.
Ooh.
And yes.
Well, you talk about diving into the paranormal feet first.
Right? So it was just us three, Kelsey, me, and Kari. And Kari and Kelsey have a different story, but I'm going to tell you what happened. Kelsey and Kari chickened out and wanted to leave. I'm like, we paid $150 for this. I'm not leaving. So they refused to go back in. So I had to call my boyfriend at the time to come and stay with me so they could leave. So they were freaked out. They were totally freaked out when we got to what we call the rape room. And
I've heard, you know what? I've heard that name is starting to become more prevalent when it comes to Edinburgh.
Yeah. So Kelsey still won't go back. We've gone back a couple times since, but so I ended up with a scratch right here. I have a picture of it.
Okay.
I don't know how I got it. I can't say for sure, but I know it wasn't there that morning.
And that's all she's ever asked for is like, I just want to get scratched. I just want to get scratched.
Exactly. That's what I kept saying. Just scratch me, But
Karen,
anyway,
is there something we need to talk about, or?
That's another show.
I just want to be scratched. Oh God, don't scratch me.
The funny thing, no, you get scratched though, and then you're like, oh no, it's not from that. I'm like,
but I'm also that type that wants to debunk everything. I didn't feel it, so my thing was I didn't feel it, so that doesn't count. But I can't say how it happened.
Okay.
So it's kind of up in the air for me. Getting back to the original question, so we kind of let it lay low for a little while, and then she starts there, and we find out she's interested in it.
Yeah, I overheard them talking one day, and I was just kind of sitting because I was still new, and then they finished talking. I was like, "Did you guys just?" Because I went to Edinburgh with my mom. I was like,
wow.
"Did you guys talk about Edinburgh?" I'm like, "Are you guys into that stuff?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, finally, somebody else.
Yeah. So then it took off crazy from there. It's just like we just book everything that we can now.
When did Paranormal 1096 come around?
So the night at Velisca, there was 6 of us. Like I said, there were 6 of us, and we all got along great. It was a fun group. It was a great night, a fun night. We had so much. And so on the way back, we were all talking, hey, we need to form a group. And so that's when we decided to start forming a group. And I think me and Kari one night at work were trying to figure out a name. And I had said 1096. And so we're like, so we kicked it around, Paranormal 1096, 1096 Paranormal. So that's how that came around. But it all started at Velisca. It was such a fun night with all 6 of us.
We keep saying 1096. For people who don't know, 1096 is cop code for crazy.
Were you surprised that I recognized it was a 10 code?
I was like, when I was like, wait, how does he know that?
my dad was chief of police in my hometown for most of my life, which being the chief's son growing up was a lot of fun. So you didn't get in much trouble.
Top kids are usually the worst.
I had to behave because I was like the 10-point buck. All his cops wanted to be out, and one got me one time, but that's a story for another time. But no, I remember the 10 codes, and so I had to look up what 1096 was because I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. But no, Paranormal 1096 on the line with me. This is The Haunting at KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. So getting back to it, all right, so you guys get together. Everybody likes the paranormal. What was it about the paranormal that kind of got you guys into this? And and I whoever wants to start, go ahead. But was it you're just curious in it? Was it I had an experience as a kid? What was it that kind of got you guys into this whole topic?
I mean, I know for me, all of my family said when I was younger, I would look at a wall and I would just start talking, and then I'd like pass something along from a great grandpa who passed and pass that along to my great grandma.
Really?
And obviously, I don't remember this. My mom had a miscarriage. She had she wasn't far along. No idea if it was a boy or girl. I was like 4. She came home and said, I'm no longer having a baby. I'm like, yeah, I know. No more baby Zach. And she's like,
Oh.
what? And so that kind of started it. And then I got into going to mediums with my mom, and it's kind of escalated.
For you, is it like, do you still do this stuff? Do you, I don't want to say talk to ghosts on a regular basis, but do you still have any of this stuff? Do you have feelings, or are there odd coincidences around you and that sort of thing?
Stuff happens in my house. I don't necessarily talk, but I will wake up in the middle of the night and something's looking at me. In my dreams, sounds crazy, but I've been to the other side. My dad passed last year. He's in almost every single one of my dreams every night. And
at some point you got to say, Dad, I need a night to myself here, man. Going down to Kari, how about you? What kind of got you into this stuff?
When I was little, I think there was, little did I realize it, but we had a church that was behind our house.
Okay.
And there was always a very bizarre feeling in the house, and I never knew what it was. There was at one point in time, I know my parents remind me of it. So if they watch this, it's going to be, I don't know what they're going to say.
Yeah.
They had a big wooden mantle, and I remember standing over by the fireplace, and that mantle lifted up off the fireplace, and I'm little. I'm like 4 or 5. Well, 4 or 5 at the time. This big heavy wooden mantle lifts up off and then pins me on the ground. And so, my parents come up, lift it up off of me. Obviously I can't lift. A 4-year-old's not going to be able to lift that. And I just remember having a very uncomfortable feeling, like somebody's always watching you, or that there was something kind of evil almost in the house. So
Okay.
I think living kind of near a church in the back, and it's just kind of progressed on from there, where it's always just like kind of been a lingering question.
So you had something, you're a person that you had something happen that you can't explain, and that's kind of led you down this. Is that fair to say?
100%. And so for me, I want to debunk I want to find the reason behind I want to investigate. I love all of it though. I love like the history of it. I want to get to know about locations.
So Addison talks to dead people. You had the weird experience. Karen, did you have to speak to the manager, or what was it for you?
So my very first, this is funny. My very first experience was, my mom and dad were divorced, and I had woke up. We lived in a trailer in Nevada, and we didn't have a phone. And I had woke up. I had a nightmare that my dad died, and I wanted to call him. And my mom had this friend that we would use her phone. And she says, we'll go to Linda's in the morning. We'll go to Linda's in the morning. We'll call Dad in the morning. Well, morning came, we had to go to school. My mom's like, no, we'll do it after school. So as we were walking out the door to get on the bus, Linda comes running in our house. Where's your mom? Where's your mom? Guess what happened that night?
Oh, no.
My dad died.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So that happened, and how did I know that? It's just bothered me for years and years. How did I know that? Did he come to me like after he died? Did he, how did that happen? And then in another house I lived in, I'm pretty sure there was a little boy there. And after about a year, I finally started talking to this little boy and thinking I'm crazy, and this thing finally went away. So I am very curious of, I would love to, tap more into that. I try, but it's not happening.
I got you. As we kind of I want to get to some of your guys' cases and some of the memorable stuff, but I got to ask because, we were joking about the cop thing, and just knowing how cops are, you guys got to be pretty brave to put this stuff out there, because there's not a lot of, cops are vicious. And vicious in a fun way with this kind of stuff.
We get it 24/7 from our coworkers. Trust me.
But
yeah,
it's kind of interesting, and it's something I've kind of found over the years and talking to police. It's most of the time it's deny anything like this happens, but then one story starts and they start telling story after story after story, and it gets into some really interesting territory. Especially one of my favorite ones was a security guard that would talk about a place that he'd have to go check, and long story short, he saw some kid burning. Then it was gone. So
they all want to hear what we found every time we go on a hunt. They all want to hear and see the proof that we bring back too.
I got you. Villisca and Edinburgh and all this, you guys come together, get the team together. How long has the team been together? In this form, I should say.
Maybe a year. We're coming on a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that time, how many investigations do you think you've done?
Unravel the scroll, Karen.
10 plus some cemeteries.
Okay. And is it
Addison and I like cemeteries.
Who likes cemeteries?
Addison and I do.
Oh, okay. Addison, I believe you. Okay, let's talk about it. I mean, if you've been to this many places, and mostly around Iowa, or is it the Midwest, or
every one of them but 2 have been in Iowa.
Okay. I know Kari's answer to this, but what is the most haunted location you've been to?
Villisca.
Is it Villisca for you guys?
For me.
I think I would have to say Villisca, because we have so much evidence. We have so much on tape, so much on recorders, so much that happened while we were there.
Okay.
We've never gotten that again since. That was our very first one. We went to being prepared, and that was the best one. I mean, we're still chasing that high.
Has there been a location that surprised you?
So for me, I'm not a sports fan. Sorry. But Addison and I went to Mars Hill Cemetery.
Okay.
And so we did a spirit box there. And we were just walking around trying to talk to people, and this old guy, so we read the name on the gravestone, and he starts talking to me about the Cardinals. And I'm like, Cardinals? I'm like, I think he's talking about a baseball team. And I asked Addison, I said, is that baseball? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about the Cardinals except for their colors are red and white. That's all I know. And he threw out probably 3 or 4 other times as we were walking through, he kept talking to us about the Cardinals.
What now, was this over the ghost box?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second, I thought apparition showed up and started talking to you.
No, I wish. Kari's got a good one for that. And this was in Missouri. We thought we saw an apparition. Kari.
The raccoon.
The stupid raccoon.
Hey, debunking. That's what I just call it. It's called debunking.
No, you knew that.
I know I knew it. But
there were some curse words.
It was proof that people will believe. So, like, one of the things in Belvoir is there's a black mass that will be low to the ground, and you can hear noises in rooms. So I'm recording Facebook Live, of course.
Yeah.
And I just see, like, I can see the camera and I can see out of my peripheral vision. I'm like, I just saw a movement, like low to the ground movement. And then I realize it's the biggest raccoon I've ever seen in my life. And I live in the country out in Iowa. I've seen some raccoons. And this thing, like, takes off, jets down the hallway. So, like, I alerted my team to
By alerted, I'm guessing screamed bloody murder.
Well, no, she didn't. She just said, "Oh, do you?" What? I don't even remember what you said, but it turned our attention toward it, and I saw it. I saw it load to the ground and go from the hallway into this room. I am crapping my pants. I was flipping out. I'm like, "Oh my God, we saw an apparition!" You know, I can't believe this is happening. She like starts laughing, and I'm like, "What?" You know. And it was a raccoon. I was so disappointed, but it scared the crap out of me. Like now I truly know how I would feel if it really happened. I was scared.
To be fair though, we had a SLS camera going at the time, REM
Yep.
pod, and we were getting activity, and only in this staircase in this area. So we were with equipment, we were getting things, but with your with your eye, it's case in point, like you could walk by a room and hear scuffling sounds, and it's probably a raccoon.
I was so
Sorry.
mad at her.
Sorry.
You talk about a roller coaster ride,
Addison, how about you? You said that and I'm not trying to make fun, but I mean, of the three of you, it seems like you may have a little bit of a tap to the other side. Has there been and if it's Villisca, that's cool, but has there been places that you've walked into and it's like nope, or gives you the heebie-jeebies, or?
There's been a couple. Villisca one, the only room was the parents' room. I walk in and I turn to my mom, I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good at all.
Okay.
And then me and Karen went to a hotel at Tumwa, and I was totally fine. It's freezing out. I'm always cold, always cold. And we went up on a floor, and all of a sudden I look at the one guy leading it, and I was like, I'm overheating. Like, I'm going to pass out. Like, I don't feel good here. I don't want to be here.
I gotcha.
And as soon as I moved to a different floor, I was totally fine. But I think the thing that, what was the house we went to? I can't think of the name right now in Missouri.
Oh, McIntyre?
McIntyre.
McIntyre. I mean, we were just getting the tour, and we'd go up the stairs, and all of a sudden you'd hear someone behind me on the stairs, or we went to sleep, and Carrie's in the bathroom. Carrie's in a different room, and I see a head peek around the corner, and I'm like, really, Carrie? So I text her, I'm like, did you just peek in here? And she's like, no. And I'm like, Karen, did you real quick? No. And I did not sleep. There was people, I swear, walking around the room all night. I would doze off, and someone would run their hand up my back. And
See, I'd be okay with that. I'd be asking them to dig in a little bit deeper.
I slept fine.
Well, they were scratching you, so.
If they're gonna do it again, I wish that they would just make me feel it so I knew that it happened. I would be tripped. I could take a tripping. I might take a punch to the face, one or two.
Would
Not
you
more
really
than that.
though?
I would. I
I'd like to
totally
see
would.
See, that's the
we
thing.
tried.
We tried.
Villisca, Carrie's like, we're going to go in, and you go in nice, whatever.
Yeah.
So Karen goes under with the spirit box, and right away me and Karen
Well-
were like, you piece of crap, how dare you do this? And then
So this is our first time. You have to remember, it's our first time. And
Yeah.
Carrie's all about you go in there nice. And Addison and I already had a plan between the two of us. Oh, no, that's not what's going to happen. We're going to antagonize them because we thought if you antagonize them, they'll come out. We learned our lesson.
I mean, towards the very end, Carrie's under again, and she's facing the wall. It's dark. She doesn't know where I am. And all of a sudden, I would not stop getting touched. And all of a sudden, she's like, come on, Addison, come in this room. And I'll get up, and it's just touching me constantly. And I was like, stop. And all of a sudden, Carrie's like, well, you asked for it. And then we went in the attic, and I started getting touched inappropriately. And
And it came
learned
up.
my lesson there.
I don't mean this to sound bad. I've been hearing that more and more. Like, for the longest time, I've never heard that about the being touched. I feel bad saying it, but I've never heard the being touched inappropriately thing until really recently, and I don't know why, but between Edinburgh, was that Villisca you were saying?
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
a few other places. I just, until I want, you know what? I actually think it was Michelle from Riverside that was the first one that brought it up, and it was about Edinburgh.
Oh,
I know it's one of those things that it just sounds crazy, but I never thought about it.
yeah. Well, you typically don't think about something like that. And when she told us that, I'm like, that is inappropriate. Stop it.
And it verified on the spirit box that it was doing it and
How?
that it wasn't
Yeah.
going to stop.
I'm gonna regret asking this. How did it verify?
We had the spirit
It
box
opened-
going, and it openly said, like, it's
Yeah.
me, I'm touching, like, I'm
Really?
touching you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
We
okay.
had at Villisca, we had a lot of back and forth. So not at the time, we didn't know it at the time, but when I came home and reviewed, there was a lot of back and forth. Like we would say something and then it would answer us. Like I still have all the recordings. Like most of them were anywhere from 1 to 5, 6, 7 words at most, but it was a back and forth conversation a lot.
Now, is this
Yeah.
stuff you guys are going to be able to put up at some point so you can show your evidence, or
Yes. Yeah. And we've been
what? Wait.
watching
What was that look, Carrie? You're like, I don't know.
Well, because so what we're doing is the Estes method. And so for me, it's a very vulnerable thing to be blindfolded, headphones on. And if you're going to truly just let it fly what you hear, like
Yeah.
if once we get going, and usually it's like, okay, we're going to do just like 15 minutes or whatever. Oh no, like they'll tap me out like an hour later and or more, and it will have felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't remember because it's really like a one-way conversation, so I have no idea what I'm answering, what they're provoking.
So sometimes we would never put anything out that got somebody's personal information, which sometimes things do come through that is personal. But like if the recordings that we got, Carrie, I would totally put those recordings out. Some of the Estes sessions, they have foul language or vulgar language. So we may not want to put that on our Facebook. We might bleep it out or something, but
Okay.
yeah, but those recordings I would totally put out. We just haven't got that far yet.
Okay. The Estes thing is interesting to me because as personal as you said it was, I think the thing that's missing out on a lot of the TV shows and a lot of the other groups' evidence pages is I want the recording of what you're hearing when when you have the blindfold and stuff on, just because to me I want to hear and line it up at that moment. Okay, what was your favorite cartoon? He-Man. You know, I want to see that part of it. So.
And there is a way you can do that. If you have like a double plug, we can do that. And we have done that before. I just don't think we have recorded that, but I think we've wanted to.
We do have a recording of it. We did it up in at McIntyre, and it was up in the attic. And I just had I just had a feeling up there. I was not comfortable, but you know what? We're here. We're gonna do it. So I strap in the other person that we were with. She was kind of my trainer for how to even begin doing this and how to really hear or what you're listening for. We listened on the way back, all the way back from Missouri. We listened to the recordings, and we could hear like my friend and then myself say the same thing at the same time. Or this is the tricky part. My brain takes everything almost in cop mode. So like it's always I'm always hearing words that are going to be related to what I do, like where I work, what I do. To me, what was a really great recording was when we were listening to we started counting down. So when you do Estes, you count yourself, they'll count you down.
Okay.
And Kieran, stop me if I get this part mixed up.
It's a good way to get them to talk. So when you tell the spirit, okay, you got 10 seconds left. If you have anything to say it now because
Yeah.
I'm going to count down. So then you like 10, 9, and then a lot of times you will get more conversation, more people coming, more spirit coming through to talk because they know they only have so many seconds. And that's why we do a countdown
Okay.
to provoke them to
And-
talk.
Believe it or not, in all of my runnings around in the paranormal world, Carrie knows my dirty secret that I've never been to Edinburgh, which I want to go. But I've always wanted to try the blindfold thing just to see what it's like because, like
It's
you were saying,
awesome.
you go see, and I've got it from a different angle where I work with audio an awful lot. So there's certain things that I'll hear or and I'm not saying I'm great at it by any stretch of the imagination, but you kind of hear different things when you're listening to it, especially on
You prick
headphones.
your ear to hear it. Yeah.
So it's kind of I like that you said cop mode where it's like you're trained one way and you're bringing your experience in and it's kind of the same thing. But either way, Paranormal 1096 on the line with me, Kari and Addison. Who was saying something?
I was just gonna say, so like bringing into the cop part of it, my friend, we're doing the countdown. She has this. We're on a splitter from the same machine, from the same spirit box, and she's doing a countdown, and they're saying stop at 6 is what my friend says, but to me, I hear stop sticks. So when we listened to it coming home, we were like, oh my God, we're doing the countdown. She heard it. My friend heard it right. Stop at 6. I heard stop sticks, which makes no sense to me whatsoever, but I blurt out what I hear.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, that's what we're
that's
what we're hearing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, when it's running through the radio frequencies and you're listening for stuff, mine are always slightly different than everybody else's. But I may be partially deaf, so I mean, working in rock radio for years has not been good to my ears. As we start to kind of get to the end of this, are there places? I'm trying to think of which question I want to ask because I've got about 3 floating around and they're all kind of in the same kind of area. When you guys get into this stuff, are there places that you're like, you know what? Nah, I don't think we need to go back there. Maybe it's, a bad feeling. Maybe it's you just don't think the place is haunted or maybe there's something more there than you really want to deal with. Is there that spot in Iowa for any of you guys?
Every single place has been different, and every single place that we've been to has brought something different.
Okay.
We've been to Edinburgh. How many times have you been there?
Just once.
Once? I've been there 3 times. Carrie's been there twice.
0 for me.
So I think every place is different. We've had almost every single place. We've had something incredible happen.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What's the goofy piece of evidence you have that you go back and you're like, okay, did that really just happen? Did we really just catch whatever? Because I think, and this goes back to some of the talks I've had with people, there are serious, like 99% of ghost hunting is sitting around in the dark talking to yourself.
Yes.
I mean, let's be real honest, but there's sometimes that there's something really funny that happens that you go, there's no way that just happened.
I have one at Farrar. Carrie was under. Addison and I were, and I'm not that one, Carrie, but that one is incredible too. Addison and I were asking questions, and we had a cat ball out there on the floor. And, when you ask a spirit to move, sometimes that cat ball will roll. And this cat ball, probably about, 4 inches? It went, whoop. It didn't roll. It moved.
Weird.
Moved. I know. And I, like, my hand, I was like, did you see that? I was, like, staring at it to see if it's doing it again. I couldn't take my eyes off it. I'm like, oh, my God, it didn't even roll. It just moved. Did it really happen? So it just amazed me that it didn't roll. It moved.
Okay. Addison, how about you? We haven't heard from you here in a little bit. And do me a favor, lean in. I've kind of zoomed it. There you go. What about you? Is there one that kind of sticks out for you? Besides ghosts getting friendly with you?
I'd say in Farrar, when we were in the classroom and Carrie was under, it started out playing with the cat ball, making jokes, kind of touching me in Karen's arms. And then all of a sudden, it kind of took like a dark turn. Like it all of a sudden said, go up the stairs and jump off. And it just started making threats. And it just started to get, the whole vibe in the room got real creepy. And it was telling Karen, hey, why don't you come out in the hallway?
Yeah, that is the only place I got creeped out. I would not go.
Really,
It
at
took me a
Farrar?
long- Yeah, Farrar. And it wanted one of us to go open the door. And we're like, F you. We're not even going near that door. It took me a long time. And then when I did, I ran back. And then I'm like, crap, now we got to go open that door back up to get out.
That's
So
really
it
fun.
did. I was creeped out. I was creeped out.
How about you, Carrie?
I'm always under, like, I'm doing Estes half the time, so I miss out on all the cool stuff.
Well,
So
why is it just you doing the Estes thing? Why is anybody else doing it, or?
She's really good at it. She's better than any of us at it.
Well, practice makes perfect.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm trying. Yeah, she's very good at it. So
it's cool to be part of something and then hear about it later. So yeah, like at Farrar, we had worked with Riverside. We had asked them to leave us something because we weren't at their event for that weekend. We were there 2 days later on
Okay.
doing our own little private investigation. So we're like, hey, leave us something somewhere. So we're thinking
To find.
they're leaving. What's that?
we wanted them to hide something, and what our point
Yeah.
was we want spirit to lead us to it.
Okay.
Right. And so
That's
like,
interesting.
We were doing like voice recordings, like if like try to communicate with us through the REM pod. We weren't getting any, like, I personally at Farrar was not feeling anything. And then so we're like, last ditch effort, let's strap into Estes. And we still hadn't found what it was that they had left for us. And they during Estes, all of a sudden, I think I say something like it's in the 4th or 5th row, and then I'm like, it's under a desk. Like they show me, like, because I'm blindfolded. I'm like,
you
I can
threw
see it.
off.
Yeah, I
You
can see it.
threw off your headphones. It scared the daylights out of me. She threw off her headphones, ripped off the blindfold. They showed it to me. I'm like, what? And she's like, it's under the chair. It's under the chair. And
It's
so
under
we
the
start flipping all the chairs over, and it was. And I was like, wait a minute, what they show you, and how did you see that? Because
Yeah,
that
like,
had never happened before.
yeah. I was like, it's a note. I knew we were looking for a note. I knew it was gonna be like blue painter's tape,
But she
and
had vision.
yeah.
Like, that's
so
incredible. That had never happened before.
yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
So that was.
Yeah.
I thought we were looking for like an actual object. I had no clue that we were looking for like a note that they just had left
Taped
us.
up under the desk.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Taped up
that's
under
pretty
our desk.
amazing, actually. I've never
It
heard of
is.
that. That's almost a good experiment to do with multiple groups.
We actually learned that from Riverside. Because at a couple of their events, they encouraged us to try to do that.
Okay, that's cool. No, Michelle
We
and the
go
folks.
to a lot of their events. Yeah.
No, Michelle and the folks at Riverside, they're good folks and stuff.
Yeah.
They were in and for the second season, I believe. So this is the Haunting at KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. Paranormal 1096 on the line with me. Karen, Kari, and Addison all joining me. So as we kind of wrap up tonight, what's next for you guys? What's coming up? What's going to happen with the team and so on and so forth? What are we doing?
I think we still like to do like the cemeteries. Addison
Okay.
and I will probably still do cemeteries during the winter. Actually, like I
Hey,
think
real quick, one question about cemeteries. What's the most active cemetery you've ever been to?
Oakland, the Black Angel.
No, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Come on.
No, I've
Um,
only investigated a cemetery one time, and that was that was years ago. So,
So what happened? I had just got a spirit box, and we had it for a couple weeks, and we just couldn't get it to work like to our satisfaction. I'm like, I think this thing's a bunch of bunk,
yeah,
And so when her and I went at midnight on Halloween night, of course,
You
when
went on
we walked in-
Halloween?
We did.
Oh my God. You
Yeah,
are asking for trouble at that point.
No. So when we walked in there, that thing took off jabbering, names. It was just saying everybody's names. Well, it was in the dark and we were kind of in a hurry. We didn't have a lot of time to waste, but so we started looking at some headstones to see if some of these names were the people there. We didn't see any, but we fully intended to go back, and we just haven't had a chance where we could both get back there. But I have to go back there.
It led us to one little headstone, and it was a little kid, and because it said the name, and then I found it, and I was like, "Oh, what happened to you?" Or who did this to you? And all of a sudden, this female voice like took over and was like, "I did it."
Oh,
Well-
that's creepy.
Yeah, then on the way back from after we saw the Black Angel, there was a voice on there that was protecting us. Remember
Yeah.
that? And they're like, I don't remember what they were saying, like, go this way, you're fine, it's okay. Like,
Oh, weird.
it was
Like a guide.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Neither one of us had ever been there.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
So obviously, maybe graveyards, maybe not. We're not telling people to go out and do anything illegal. So if you're watching
No.
at home or whatever, or listening,
Go during the daytime.
yes, go during the daytime. I get the feeling that you do mostly places that you can go to. Have you done private residences? Are you open to doing private residences, or?
We've done one private residence, not because of the residence, but for a person. We got great results. So satisfying. But we also tell people, there's a couple people that want us to go there to their place, but we're also still learning.
Okay.
I mean,
I-
we're
please go
so
ahead.
amateur. Yeah,
We're
we're just
so
so
amateur.
we just wing it. So it's not like a professional that's going to go into
Yeah.
your house. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
So,
you know
I
what
don't
though.
know.
You know what though? You saying that is very mature for a group, because I think there are a lot of groups out there that they want to be the group that's going to go in and fix stuff, but they either don't or they make it worse, or it's one of
Yeah.
those. I always think this is what I always get with some of the ghost shows is when they show the evidence. It's kind of like a plumber telling you, yes, you have a leak. Here's a picture of your leak. Well, did you do anything about it? No.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Have a good night. So
Yeah,
I think that's actually a fairly mature way to look at it. If you're not the group to go in and fix the leak, that's
I mean,
I would
if
be.
they're looking for answers, I don't know that we have answers, but we more like to just investigate. We're not advertising that we can go and find out what's there and fix it and make it go away. We're just more, hey, we want to investigate this. We want to check it out.
Okay, all right.
That's where we're at right now. I mean, we don't have a lot of time to debunk a lot of stuff, and so sometimes it takes us a lot of time to go through what we did get.
Yeah,
But
I get you.
most
I
of
get
it's
you.
yeah.
No, I completely understand. Go ahead, Carrie.
That's like one of my, I was gonna say that's like one of my pet peeves that I've noticed, is just how you cannot, sometimes you don't feel accepted, like people don't understand. I get a lot of private messages or phone calls saying, hey, I see your page, but I don't really want anybody to know about this. Can you come check out my house? Or I think what does this seem like to you? What does this sound like? Or can we go check this out? I have a feeling about it, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be judged. So to
And
me, that's
well, like I was saying earlier, with you guys being in law enforcement, I mean that's a pretty brave thing to do, is come out and say that you're into this stuff, or you go out and investigate. And like you said, everybody's curious when you come back. I mean, there's people I know that hey, I've got something going on in my house. Wow, have you ever thought about getting investigated? Nope. I don't want to be the crazy one. So
Yeah.
So yeah, no, interesting stuff. Well, guys, I think that's about going to wrap it up for tonight. I appreciate you coming on so much. I hope
Thanks
you
for
enjoyed
talking
it.
to us about it. We love talking about it. So
Well, that's what I was talking to Carrie when we were trying to get the whole thing set up. It's like, okay, yeah, I could talk to you guys for several hours about this stuff, which I do have a very cool law enforcement story I want to tell you after this that has to do with the paranormal.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
guys. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Paranormal 1096, Karen, Kari, and Addison. If people do want to get a hold of you, the Facebook page is going to be the best way to do it, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
And
Well,
we would we'll never, I mean, we're willing to listen to anybody. We would never judge anybody about what they have going on or not believe them.
awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. This is The Haunting at KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. We will see you again next week.